It's really a masterclass, 101, if you will. Ruin a quarterback 101 is what the Patriots did with Mac Jones. Is that how you view his tenure here, Mazz, now that it's all over?
I mean, largely, yes. Now, look, there's the chance that Jones would have sucked independent of that, but let's just take it for what it is. I mean, let's look at overall how the Patriots handled Mac Jones, and that is that they selected him with the number 15 pick in the draft. In the last 29 games, I think he was 9-20. He had 3 different coordinators in 3 years. His stock plummeted, and they traded him again. They drafted him number 15 overall, and they got somewhere in the neighborhood of number 200 back for him 3 years later. So you tell me. The Krafts like to say we employ the same philosophies with the Patriots that we do with our other businesses. How is that for asset management? Because I would call that atrocious. If that's asset management, it's a miracle that they're not bankrupt. If Mac Jones is any sort of indication, it is negligent and grotesque asset mismanagement is what it was. They used number 15 on him. Number 15. And they traded him for, give or take, number 200. Okay? What does that tell you? And it took 3 years. 3 years it lost that kind of value. So to me, now again, I say the Krafts because they're, along with Bill, and Bill's a big part of that, Bill Belichick. But regardless, I look at it and say it was grossly, grossly mismanaged.
Tom Curran writes that making life miserable for the greatest quarterback in NFL history, meaning Tom Brady, and then having him win a Super Bowl did not seal Belichick's fate. Making it so that Mac Jones was completely unusable did. Meaning the Mac Jones experience is what got Bill Belichick fired. Agree or disagree?
I would say that, I think they're all part of the same thing, but if the chain reaction ends with Mac Jones, yes, that was a straw that broke the camel's back.
Straw that broke the camel's back. That's right.
So
he says nature. Yeah, well, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so I think that there were other things that transpired before that. And the part that frustrates me in this whole thing, and Mike, I would admit some of this spins off of the documentary over the weekend, because I think that, they started talking about Brady and Garoppolo, and I think this is all sort of related. And that is what agitates me about the whole thing mostly is it feels like the Krafts are washing their hands of the mismanagement with the quarterback position. And I don't think that they are, their hands are clean. I think there's blood on their hands too. Maybe not as much as Belichick, certainly not as much as Belichick. But organizationally, from Brady to Mac Jones was a colossal, massive fail.
And massive. What was the Krafts' role in that?
Well, they first of all they basically opened the door or kicked Garoppolo out the door, told Bill to kick him out the door. So start with that, and then if you want to say, well, that's fine, but then they let Brady leave right behind him. And on top of it, presumably they wanted Mac Jones at number 15 and may have even leveraged Bill into it. And I say leveraged, but offered their insights on it. They certainly seem to have their interest in Mac Jones from the very, very beginning. And I would go so far as to say that they've been on the perimeter of this thing, if not deeper, from the very beginning with Brady. Again, they were involved in Garoppolo, they were involved in Brady, they were involved in Mac Jones. Brady was going to him and whispering and about his discontent with Belichick. So in that way, they kind of undermined Bill. So to me, the idea that the Krafts aren't in the middle of it in some way, shape, or form is preposterous.
Curran writes, nature versus nurture, chicken or the egg. Was Mac Jones always going to suck? Or did Belichick underrate urgency and overrate his own acumen as an offensive coach and roster builder? Personally, I'd lean towards the latter. Tommy Curran says, given a decent situation and the right support, Jones could have been a top 12 quarterback for a decade who gave you a good shot every Sunday. The Patriots gave Jones a bad situation and then pulled back on their support. But he says, did they just draft a sucky player or did they put him in the wrong spot? He would lean towards the latter, meaning they just put him in the wrong spot. He says, given a decent situation and the right support, Jones could have been a top 12 quarterback for a decade who gave you a good shot every Sunday. Agree or disagree, Big Jim?
Look, Bill helped ruin him for sure, but the quarterback is also complicit in his own demise. Like, he was, I think, a baby from day one that had to have everything go his way, and you can't convince me otherwise that he stopped whatever upward trajectory he was on in his rookie season after the Buffalo game in early December of 2021 when they play in the Typhoon, where Bill and the coaching staff, including Josh McDaniels, he missed McDaniels, they didn't trust him to throw more than 3 times. And that was the game before the bye. After that game, they're the 1 seed in the AFC. And then remember, they go into the bye, and then we hear after the fact, if they lose to the Colts, like something weird happened during the bye, they go 1-3 down the stretch, they blow that 1 seed, and he was never the same again. So Mac Jones is complicit in that. I think he was like, no, they don't trust me, and he went the other way. He was never the same after that game. So F him. Good riddance.
Okay. F him, good riddance? Or do you look at the team and say they botched it? And so, look, you want my answer, and I know it's a chicken bleep answer, but it's obviously both, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously both.
Of course.
In other words, if you've got a first-round pick in the top half of the first round, which is what he was barely, and you surround that player with the best cast you can, are you still really all that jazzed about Mac Jones from a raw talent standpoint?
No.
Nope.
Like, why would you ever use a first-round pick on a guy like that? And again, I don't think he's the worst thing in the world at all, but you should be able to find that from, I don't know, the veteran ranks. A guy floating around the NFL with that kind of arm talent who can read a defense and manage a game. And, like, you shouldn't have to draft, in the mid to first half of the first round for that skill set. That should be there. That should be there in the third round. It should be there around the league. You should have that in your back pocket if you want it. Don't you think? Like, just sign Joe Flacco if that's what you want. You know what I mean on that? So,
of course.
If you're going to draft a quarterback in the first round, he got to have more physical ability than that. So it was a failed draft pick. He wasn't good enough. And then, obviously, they made it worse. And if you put Mac Jones in the absolute best spot, could you win at a high level? Yeah, define high level. But yes, if you gave him a super team, he'd be okay with it. We did it in college, so he could do it in the pros. But how realistic is that? To get everything right around him? Like, that's not. So it was a failed pick. It was a failed decision, and they failed him. So it's both. I hate to say both, but if I had to lean towards one or the other, I'd lean towards him not being good enough. Because I'll just say, if they had done everything right by him, surrounded him properly, gave him the proper coaching, would you still watch him play football and say, that's really what I want? Would anyone ever say that?
No. When you draft a quarterback in the first round, there has to be a wow factor to his game in some way, shape, or form. And there was never that. You're right. Like, at best, he should have been a third-round pick.
I mean, and I like game managers. I'm okay with that. But you got to have enough arm talent. I mean, Matthew Stafford can sling the ball. I mean, the guys that you think are Bridgie Murray, which are pretty much everybody, but at least...
Oh, no, he's got a cannon for an arm.
Stafford's got an elite NFL arm. Or Kirk Cousins is an elite NFL passer. Or, I don't know, most guys you want to put in that category at least bring a trait to the game where you say, well, that's, high-end quality. Mac Jones doesn't have it. So you've got to do everything right by him. And they did everything wrong by him. But, like, don't go acting like Orlovsky said there, or, kind of Curran's point. I don't totally agree with it. It's like, no, the next guy's got to be better. You've got to do better by the next guy. And the next guy's got to be better. And Tom gets to it in his column towards the end. He says, the Patriots, and this is on NBCSportsBoston.com, the Patriots are firm on making sure whoever they draft next has a commanding presence and a good arm. Jones, while universally liked by his teammates, had neither. Are we sure he was universally liked?
No.
So he was liked by some, not liked by others. But anyway, the Patriots are firm on making sure whoever they draft has a commanding presence and a good arm. So not just the intangibles, but physical talent. Jones had neither. He says he would have worked fine, though, if Belichick didn't hand Jones a crap sandwich and then go ballistic when Jones complained about the taste. It's like, oh, that's true. But it's like, you got to draft a better guy. If that's all you're going to come home with, then you draft that guy in the 3rd round, or you just take the veteran floater in the league who can read a defense and manage a game. The next pick's got to be better. And the management of him, I think, is sort of self-evident. But Jones wasn't good enough. Make no mistake.